What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we've got another tier list and we're going through the best knockout of the year. Obviously there was a bunch of great KOs this year, a bunch of vicious KOs, flatlines, TKOs, all of that. A lot of finishes in title fights too, and I'm going to be going through a bunch of the highlights of the year in terms of the KO/TKO finishes and rating them on a tier list. I've got at the top tier all-time highlights for those KOs that are going to go down in history as some of the best KOs of all time and are just going to be on replay as, like, you know, all-time highlights, like that Barboza wheel kick against Terry Adam, like those kind of things that when you see UFC knockout compilations, these are the ones you're going to see. Then I've got elite KO, great KO, solid KO, and decent KO for some other ones. So I've got 30 nominations here. Obviously these are not the best 30 KOs of the year, but I had to kind of get a mix of TKOs and KOs to sort of demonstrate like the different level of it and where they're kind of sitting at. But we're going to get started, and we're going to obviously at the end of this video crown the nap of the year, who took the best nap of 2023. But we're going to get started with a first KO here, and I'm going to be starting off with Edson Barboza against Billy Quarantillo. The step-in knee KO as Quarantillo went in for a takedown and just slept him straight. One shot, didn't need a follow-up. I'm putting him in elite KO because Barboza, when he gets finishes, they're going in like they're highlight reel finishes. This like was a sick KO. Quarantillo threw a punching combination and on the end of it kind of shot in for a takedown and it's got bang, caught with a knee and put out. And you couldn't almost see what it was at first, and then you checked the replay and it was just a brutal knee right to the dome. So great KO from Edson Barboza. We move on to another KO, and it's going to be, who are we going to go with? Benoit Saint Denis against Matt Favola. I'm going to put this in elite KO for now, but I might move it down later on depending on how it's looking because I want to have even numbers. But Benoit Saint Denis against Matt Favola, amazing KO, quick KO as well, only a minute and a half into the fight. Obviously got taken down, got back up, ran towards him, and as he separated on the break, just threw a head kick and just dropped him bad. He landed like one more shot, but Favola was already out. So sick KO from Benoit Saint Denis, definitely one of the better KOs of the year. We're going to move on to another finish, and we're going to go with, who are we going to go with? Tyson Pedro against Anton Churkal. I'm going to put this in solid KO. Obviously, you might be like, well, that was a sick KO, like it was like he flatlined him. Like, yeah, but this is just in comparison. Obviously, level of opposition a little bit lower, and also he did land a follow-up shot. So he dropped him bad, and he rocked him on the feet beforehand, and then he landed that one big shot, and then put him down. The celebration cold, but obviously it wasn't like a one shot and you drop KO. So I'm going to put it at solid, but it wasn't like a ground and pound TKO, which goes lower on this list, which we're going to see more of in a bit. But we're going to move on to another KO, and we're going to go with Elvis Brenner against Kainan Krzyzewski. I'm putting this in great KO. It was a flat line, so it's got to be, regardless of the level of opposition, it has to be pretty high up on the list, of course. But like, obviously, lower level of opposition, it kind of was like a weird shot. It wasn't like the most visually appealing, like you couldn't really see the punch that well. Landed on like the side of the head, and it was a short notice opponent. It was a lower level opposition, so just not the biggest stage for it. But if a KO's flatline, you got to put it higher up. So great KO from Elvis Brenner. We move on to another finish, and I'm going to go with Brandon Royval against Matheus Nicolau. I'm putting this in solid KO. So the knee itself was sick. This was one of the best like step-in knees, sick KO. But the thing separating this from Barboza vs Quarantillo, which was on the same card, is that Royval followed up with a bunch of ground and pounds. So Nicolau wasn't out straight away. So like Quarantillo got put out straight away. This one took a little bit of ground and pound, which is going to bring you down. But just because it was the knee, I can't put it so low down in decent KO. But I'm going to put it in solid. We move on to another finish, and I'm going to go with Dricus du Plessis versus Robert Whittaker. I'm putting this in decent KO. It was a TKO, amazing big stage, so it's got to be on this list just because obviously the spotlight on this fight, the level of opposition extremely high, but it was a TKO, it wasn't a flat line. He got dropped with a jab and then he kind of chased him down, but still great TKO from Dricus du Plessis. Another KO that took place this year was Jesus Aguilar versus Shannon Ross. I'm putting this in great KO. Again, flatline KO, but it's Shannon Ross who has no chin and is shit. And it was just a big kind of looping overhands that he just didn't catch. It wasn't some exquisite setup or anything like that. He just threw a massive shot and Ross didn't defend it. So great KO, flatlined him. Ross took a nice little nap there, but I got to put it in great KO. Similar to Brenner, low level of opposition, but still a great flatline KO. We move on to another nap, and we're going to go with Ikram Alaskarov versus Phil Hawes. I'm going to put this in great KO as well. Again, I might move this later on, but it was a clean 1-2 on the same side of the head and flatlined Phil Hawes. But again, Phil Hawes, glass jaw, gets KO'd very easily, takes naps very often, kind of like my grandma, just napping all the time, Phil Hawes, you know. So I can't put it super, super high up because it's not like it's a difficult feat to chin Phil Hawes, but Ikram Alaskarov, perfect 1-2 and a great KO. We move on to another finish, and I'm going to go with Drew Dober against Matt Favola, or the other way around, I should say. I'm going to put this in decent KO. Obviously, the overhand right was sick, but there was a bunch of ground and pound to follow this up, and it was Dober was still in it a little bit, so I can't put it super high up. The overhand right was sick. If it just ended there and that was like a flat line against Drew Dober, who's got a great chin, then obviously it would have had to go higher up, but just because of the ground and pound, it just lost a bit of its, like you're like, whoa, he just got dropped, and then it's like ground and pound, ground and pound, ground and pound, then it's finished. But if it's just a one shot, then it's going to be way higher up. But great KO from Matt Favola. We move on to another nomination, and I'm going to go with Derek Lewis against Marcos Rogerio de Lima. It's going in decent. Look, I know it was sick KO, like, great stuff, fun celebration from Lewis, but the knee itself, again, if he just dropped him and then like 1 or 2 ground and pound shots like an Askren versus Masvidal kind of vibe, then it's going in like elite KO. But there was like 20 seconds of ground and pound, so I can't put it that high up, but just because of the stage it was on, fun knockout and just a fun celebration overall, it's got to be featured on this list. We move on to another KO, and I'm going to go with Roman Kopylov against Claudio Haberio. I'm going to put this in elite KO. So the difference separating this and the other ones, because I know this is not the highest level of opposition, but the difference with this, and then compared to the other 3 that I have in great KO, is that this was a head kick, and this was like just vicious. It was a great setup too, but like he like froze him. With these ones with his big looping punches, or in Ikram's case, just a nice 1-2. But I feel like the head kick, it's just got to go higher up. So great KO from Roman Kopylov. I'm expecting big things from Mr. Chase Hooper with testosterone in 2024. I think he's going to have a big year and maybe break into the rankings. But sick KO at UFC 291. Somehow didn't get a bonus though. We move on to another finish, and I'm going to go with Charles Oliveira against Beneil Dariush. It's going in decent KO. Obviously, like the electric moment behind it and how fun and sick this was to watch and how amazing it was to see Charles Oliveira get back in the win column. That's really high up in terms of cool moments. But the KO, nice head kick, follow-up right hand, ground and pound. Like it was a prolonged finish. So great stuff from Oliveira, but it wasn't that one shot and you drop kind of thing. So it's got to go further down. This decent KO tier is basically just for TKOs, if I'm being honest. But we're going to move on to another KO, and I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev against Alexander Volkanovski. It's going in elite KO. Yeah, it's got to go in elite. See, obviously, I know this had ground and pound to follow up, but there was a big difference in this compared to like Dricus du Plessis and Robert Whittaker. Like, Volk was done from the head kick. Like, he wasn't. If Islam had just walked off, Volk would have wobbled around a bit, and the ref would have been like, yeah, he's out of it, I'm stopping this fight. Obviously, he did end up following up, but during none of that time was Volkanovski fighting back. So, and also the level of opposition, you just got to bring this up super high. Notice how we got 3 head kicks in this tier. This is like head kick tier. But incredible stuff from Islam. Very sad to watch because I loved Volkanovski and I still do. I wanted him to win, but you got to give credit to where it's due. It was a sick KO, and against one of the best fighters in the world. So regardless of if there was a little bit of ground and pound to follow up, the kick itself was the one shot. It wasn't like a knee that kind of knocked you off balance and then he goes up, or like you get dropped and then you recover and then you get finished. Like, the kick was done and the ground and pound was just extra. But we move on to another KO, And I'm going to go with... Who are we going to go with now? I'm going to go with Drakkar Close against Joe Selecki. This is also going in Elite KO. And I'm going to chuck it towards the top. I might readjust this at the end of the video. But Drakkar Close against Joe Selecki. Incredible slam KO. Not the most technical, but just a brutal finish. Just smacked him on his head. Getting armbarred, and he's like, fuck your jiu-jitsu. Whack. Just slammed him. So sick KO from Drakkar Close. Not a lot of slams in that you see in UFC history. And to get out of a submission with a slam, incredible stuff from Drakkar Close. Also, like, obviously, this is one of the ones where I definitely could see this becoming an all-time highlight. But I've got 3. I'll give you a hint. There's 3 KOs that I have in all-time highlights. So if that spoils it, I'm sorry. But yeah, I can't put too many in all-time highlight. Because even if this is going to be replayed in like 5 years' time as like a power slam KO, it just can't go too high up. Because it wasn't like it wasn't a punch or a kick. Like, he slammed him. So yeah, not the most difficult thing to pull off, but very impressive nonetheless. We move on to another finish, and I'm going to go with Giri Prohaska against Alex Pereira. I'm going to put this... I'm debating solid KO just because of the level of opposition, but I got to stick with my method, and I'm going to put this in decent KO, of course. Again, TKO, controversial stoppage, but the level of opposition does kind of save it, because if this was just a random KO on an Apex card and it was a weird stoppage, like, this isn't even getting talked about. But because of the level of opposition, title fight, obviously how he won his second title, it's got to go there. It's got to at least be in the tier list. We move on to another fight, or another KO, and I'm going to go with Manuel Torres against Nicholas Motta. I'm putting this in great KO right at the top. Step in elbow, nasty stuff. Obviously, big looping punches, if you're going to put people out, like, they're going to be great highlights and they're aesthetic to watch, but something about a step in elbow just flatlined him. If he just walked off, man, this could have gone in Elite KO, because he just stepped in and went bang, just elbow. Fuck, I just knocked my computer. He just stepped in and just elbowed him straight in the fucking nose and just slapped him. And then he followed up with ground and pound, which kind of made it look worse than it was. Because if he just stepped off and the guy's out cold, because he was out, Nicholas Motta was not responding, would have made it so much better. But regardless, it is what it is. We can't have all fun times here. But we move on to another KO, and I'm gonna go with Jim Miller against Jesse Butler. It's going in great KO too. Again, level of opposition, but just the fact that Jim Miller just came in and just fucking smoked this guy. Like, bang, left hook, and then just uppercut when he was out cold on the ground. This was just violent to watch and very fun as well. So it's got to go in great KO from Jim Miller. Good stuff from Big Jimmy Boy. We move on to another KO, and I'm going to go with Ian Gary against Daniel Rodriguez. It's going in decent KO. Yeah, ground and pounds follow up. The head kick was sick, but yeah, I don't know. Just something about it. It's Ian Gary. I don't want to give the man too much credit. So yeah, it's going in decent. We move on to another KO, and I'm going to go with Modestas Bukauskas getting KO'd by Vitor Petrino. This is going to go in solid. Look, it wasn't a flat line. It was a one shot, but it was like Modestas was pretty much out, but I don't know. Something about it, like, I want to see the person go out. Like, everything in great KO is all, like, I know obviously Islam in Elite wasn't a flat line, but like, everything above this is like flat lines, so I like to see the guy be like fully unconscious, you know. But Modestas got caught with a big left hook, and it was done from there. But it, like, one shot was sick, but if he'd just been out cold from that would have been one of the better KOs of the year. But it is what it is. Still great stuff. We move on to another finish, and I'm going to go with Grant Dawson against Bobby Green. It's going in decent KO. I'm kind of overusing this tier, to be honest. This is a bunch of TKOs, but caught him with a jab coming in. Great stuff. Quick finish. Not much else to say. 33 seconds. Big underdog, which was sick, but yeah. We move on to another finish, and I'm going to go with Israel Adesanya against Alex Pereira. It's going an all-time highlight. As much as I don't like Izzy, and he's an abomination of a human, it was a sick KO if you're looking at it not like objectively. Just slapped Alex Pereira with it, like, rocked him, and then another one, which is stopping it from being, I'd say, the best KO of the year. I do have one ahead of that. Like, he rocked him bad and then put him down, so still sick. It was just similar to Aspinall Pavlovich, which was also a great KO. But, yeah, Izzy, great stuff. Cool celebration, I guess. Yeah, but I hate the guy, so fuck him. We move on to another KO, and I'm going to go with Arman Sayukian against Benil Dariush. This is going in great KO. I was tempted to go solid and just not give him credit, but it's gone right up the top of great KO. Ground and pound was not required, but the knee I thought it was a knee, but then came through with the right hand, which was sick. So good stuff from Arman Sayukian. Incredible KO. We move on to another KO, and we're going to go with Rinya Nakamura against Toshiomi Kazama. I'm going with solid. Look, violent KO, violent stuff, great finish, but yeah, it's Rinya Nakamura. It's Toshiomi Kazama. Like, it's just low level. He did flatline him, so I could put this in great, but I think I'm going to adjust some of these later on, because this is looking a bit uneven. I don't have enough in solid KO. Got too many in decent and it's great, so probably going to adjust this, but sick from what's his name? Naruto. Rinya Nakamura, the Jap. But yeah, he just kind of charged him and then just got him out of there quick, so good stuff. Always love to see that. Just dropped the fucking Hiroshima bomb on him. We're going to move on to another finish, and we're going to go with... We should go with Sean O'Malley against Aljamain Sterling. I'm going to put this in solid. I know I'm going away from my method, but I can't just keep putting any TKO in decent. So I'm putting this in solid just because the step back original counter was sick. Like, the original right hand counter was amazing, but it just took so much ground and pound, which brought it down. If that was just a right hand, and just follow and just done from there, definitely would have been elite. But I just can't put it overly high up on the list just because of, there was a lot of ground and pounds. But I think if you look at this compared to the other ones, the finishing sequence, the start of the sequence was way better. Like, if you look at Yuri getting slightly dropped, these guys all got kind of dropped or rocked and then got TKO'd. Aljo got fucking face planted and then recovered somehow, but still, great stuff from Sugar Sean O'Malley. We move on to another one, and I'm going to go with Ishmael Bonfim against Terence McKinney. It's going elite KO. I know it's McChinney, I know it's Mr. McChinney, but still, flying knee is always going to get you up on a list. It was a flatline, double flying knee. Incredible stuff from Ishmael Bonfim in his home country of Brazil. That card in Brazil was actually sick. If you guys haven't already, watch my best event, ranking every event of the year video. I ranked every single event, not just pay-per-views, but fight nights as well. The whole lot, every single card. And I'll give you a spoiler, UFC 283 placed pretty highly, which I've seen a lot of people saying it wasn't a good card, but I actually really enjoyed it. So, regardless, great KO from Ishmael Bonfim. We move on to another finish, and I'm going to go with Michael Johnson getting slapped and taking a nap against Carlos Diego Ferreira. It's going in elite KO, of course. Anytime you see someone go fucking cross-legged and just stiffened, it's got to go in. It's got to go really high up in the tier. So great stuff from Carlos Ferreira. Just slapped Michael Johnson and then held his head. How nice of him! He's just this is the nap of the year tier list. So you got to put someone who went cross-legged and was literally getting cradled. You got to put them pretty high up. But we're gonna move on to another finish, and I'm gonna go with Umar Nurmagomedov against Hayoni Barcelos. It's going to go in great KO. Right next to Arman, because they were basically the same thing. It was the step-in knee, and then that didn't land, and then they followed through with a punch. I'm going to put Umar's ahead, though, because he didn't follow up with ground and pound. Well, he landed one, but Arman was trying to fucking land as many shots as he could, which was a bit dirty. But I know the level of opposition is obviously higher from Arman's, but Umar's was just way cleaner. Barcelos was just out straight away. So sick KO from Mr. Umar. We move on to another finish, and I'm going to go with Dustin Poirier getting slept by the head kick against Justin Gaethje. It's of course going an all-time highlight from the highlight reel himself. Incredible KO from Justin Gaethje. The high kick combo, the 1-2, hold the 2 and then fucking slap him in the head with a fucking foot or a shin. Incredible stuff from Justin Gaethje. Great KO. This is definitely, you already know, this is going to be a highlight. all-time highlight for years to come. Fuck. We move on to another finish, and I'm going to go with Sergey Pavlovich getting KO'd by Tom Aspinall. It's going in elite KO. Just how clean this was. This was basically Adesanya Pereira, but just a little bit less, visually appealing, if you know what I'm saying. Like, he rocked him bad, and then the follow-up. Something about it, I just want to see a one shot. Like, you get him rocked and then put him down. It's like, okay, yeah, you rocked him. But it's like, when you just get one-shotter, that's when it's just way better. But still, incredible KO from Tom Aspinall. We move on to another KO, and the last KO, it's Josh Emmett against Bryce Mitchell. This is going the top of the tier, all-time highlight. I think this was the best KO of 2023 in my personal opinion. I know people are going to say, oh, but the storyline and Izzy getting his comeback and fulfilling his anime legacy. Shut the fuck up, you virgin. Nothing like just a fucking blunt force trauma, overhand right to the front of the face and putting another man into a seizure. That's what I'm all here for. Good stuff from Josh Emmett, you know. Sending a man into convulsions. If you're not doing that, you're not winning. So that's what I think. I think this was the best KO of the year. Close. Obviously, Izzy's was like the bigger moment, of course. Gaethje's bigger moment, obviously, both in main events. But in terms of just the most brutal KO of the year, this is it by far. I don't know how you can actually disagree that this was the most brutal KO of the year. This is the only time we've seen this year a man be sent into convulsions. Like, come on. You can't not have this winning KO of the year. But that's everything. Now let's adjust this, because I definitely have made some mistakes here. So, I'm happy with these top three. I'm not putting anything else in all-time highlight. I'm happy with Barboza in elite KO. I'm happy with Bonfim. I'm happy here. Yep. I'm good here, looking good. I do think Islam, I'm going to move this down a little bit. I'm not going to move it to great. I'm going to keep it in elite KO, I think. Now, great KO. I'm going to put Ikram down, I think, just because it's Phil Hawes. I'm going to put him at the top of solid KO. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 in great KO, 6 in solid KO. I've got a bunch in decent, so I kind of want to move. Which ones from decent can I move up? I'm going to put Matt Favola in solid, just because of how more. I think this was just a little bit more brutal, to be honest. So I'm putting this in solid. So now I've got 7 in solid, and I'm going to, you know what? I'm trying to think. Okay, so Umar, great KO. Armin, Brenner. I'm going to move Brenner down a little bit. Yeah, I'm moving Brenner down. I'm putting the elbow here. And then I reckon I'll go Aguilar. I'm happy there. Miller. And then I got Ikram in solid. Pedro. I'm happy with this. I got 6 in decent. 7 in solid. 6 in great. I got a bunch in elite. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in elite. And then 3 in all-time highlights. So I think I'm happy with that. I think those are the best KOs of the year. Let me know where you guys would place all of them. Let me know who you guys think got the best KO of the year. If you disagree with me, you're incorrect. But yeah, I'm just going to... It's the NAP tier list. So the NAP trophy of the year goes to Bryce Mitchell. He took the best NAP this year. Some honourable mentions for some good naps, obviously. We had Michael Johnson taking a nice nap. Joe Selecki looks like he's in a pretty comfortable position there, having a good sleep. Barcelos is somehow being able to sleep face fully upwards. I don't know how people can sleep back down, belly up. Like, you always need to go on your side, but Barcelos is having a good sleep. Krusevski's gone face down. That's always going to be a good nap, you know. Kazama took a good nap against Nakamura, but yeah, some good naps were taken in this year of 2023, and I'm giving Josh Emmett the best KO of the year. But yeah, see you guys in the next one. I'm going to be going through all the other kind of categories: KO, submission, fight of the year too. I've already done KO, so submission and fight of the year, and probably a bunch of other tier lists coming soon. So stay tuned. Peace out, everybody.